Hello everyone, this is Coach in the Fight from the Kingdom of Heaven is at Hand Ministries. We're here today and we're on, this is the Sabbath day, and we wanted to put out a class for today. And this is a sign my wife and children put together for the class, and we was putting it together, and I put the date up here, and I said, well, which date do I put? So we got Nisan the 22nd, and we got October the 13th, 2017. Now, and so we thought, well, let's give a class on that. What's the two different dates? And so the class today will be on, ta-da, the Enoch Calendar. This was our old Enoch Calendar. And by the way, guys, we're joined today with my beautiful family, wife and boys. Y'all say hi.
Hello.
Hi. So we got this calendar we've been using for a while, and we wanted to make one that was a little more sturdy and a little easier to use and a little bit bigger. More permanent. And when we were thinking about such, my wife asked the question. What was your question again, babe?
What is the purpose of the Enoch calendar? Why we would use it rather than a Gregorian calendar?
All right. So she asked a good question. Why would we bother to have a separate Enoch calendar opposed to just using the one we've been used to, the old Gregorian calendar? Let's answer that question. All right, to answer this question, we want to use some books contained in this, the Researcher's Library of Ancient Texts, Volume 1, which includes Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees. Well, Stacy, if you would, go ahead and read Enoch, the prophet, chapter 74, verse 12.
And the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly, so that they do not advance or delay their position by a single day unto eternity, but complete the years with perfect justice in 364 days. So
that presents a problem. How do you keep up with these 364 days with a calendar that has 365 and a quarter days? So the question then becomes, what happens if we don't keep these days? All right, so we're here at the book of Jubilees, chapter 6, verse 32. Go ahead, Stacy.
And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. Okay,
now this is a whole nother book. This is not the book of Enoch. This is the book of Jubilees written by Moses, and he's also saying that the year has 364 days. Go ahead.
And these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts.
Okay, which means that with these 364 days, the year never progresses. Every day keeps falling on the same day, all every year. The feast days fall on the same day every year. Okay?
For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast.
All right. All right, any questions about that?
Not like the Enoch calendar is not like the Gregorian calendar. Like for example, your birthday is on a different day of the week every year.
Yeah. With the Gregorian calendar, it's the same day. You're right, exactly. All right. Next verse, please.
Verse 33. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment.
Hold on, wait a minute. It sounds like a warning coming. Slow down now. You gotta. When we start talking about if you don't do such and such, we need to slow our roll when we come to read. All right, go to the next one.
Then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order.
Okay, so the seasons and the years will be disturbed and dislodged. Okay, go ahead.
And they will disturb the seasons and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances.
Okay, neglect the ordinances, meaning the orders by the Lord, talking about the Torah or the instructions. Go ahead.
And all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years.
And see, that's why the children of Israel and the Gentiles and nobody else in the world really knows that this is a Jubilee year. There's a whole lot of people jumping up and down trying to say it, but not only do they not know that this is the year, but we really aren't taught what it even means to have a Jubilee year. Not in our churches, at least. Go ahead.
And will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths. And
Okay.
they will go.
Now, to forget these days is important because we know the curses of Leviticus, which talks about how the Lord will push you off into the cities when we forget these things. So, go ahead.
And they will go wrong as to all the orders of the years.
Yep, and we don't even know what year it is. We don't. Go ahead.
For I know, and from henceforth shall I declare it unto them. And it is not of my own devising. For the book lieth written before me, and on the heavenly tables the division of days is ordained.
Okay, now, meaning these days are already written on the heavenly tables, and King Gregory or whoever else can write a calendar all they want. They cannot change the heavenly tablets.
Right. Lest they forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance.
Okay. Now, the feasts of the Gentiles, what we come to know those what are the feasts of the Gentiles?
The holidays like Christmas,
Easter, May Day.
Yeah, those are the feasts of the Gentiles. And we don't pay anything to the feasts of the Lord, which are what?
Passover, unleavened bread, Feast of Weeks,
Weeks,
Tabernacles,
Atonement.
Okay. We gotta love the word. It's so very true. Is that it? Or we're going to 38.
Okay. 36. For there will be those who will surely make observations of the moon. Now disturbeth the seasons and come in from year to year 10 days too soon.
Okay. Then there's a lot of people who look at the moon alone and they count months. Well, you can count months if you want with the moon, but you're going to come up 10 days too soon. It's not going to be right. You need 364 days, and if you do the math on the moon, you don't get 364 or 365 or anything else.
37. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb and make an abominable day, the day of testimony.
Okay, so, I mean, even the people who are trying to keep the holy days, what this is trying to tell us, that you will keep them on the wrong day. The Lord has an atonement day, and He's expected us to keep to fast on His atonement day. And we say, well, we fast on a day. Well, it didn't count. Now, I don't think it counts when you fast on the wrong day. So, go ahead.
And an unclean day, a feast day.
And so, we're mixing them up. It's just like the Sabbath day, for instance. The Sabbath day falls this month on a Friday. So everybody who believes that the Sabbath day is Sunday is out mowing the grass right now. But then on Sunday, they're not going to be taking the Sabbath day then either. They're going to still be cooking and mowing the grass.
They're going to be.
Anyway, next, go ahead.
And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean days with the holy.
Now, why is all of this? Why is he saying all of this is going to happen?
Because this is the downfall.
From what?
Holiness.
The downfall from what? What is this the downfall from?
This is the downfall from...
That's what we're talking about. It's the downfall from forgetting that there are three, for not having an Enoch calendar.
Okay,
This is what's happening for not even not having a calendar. This is what happens.
Right. We got lost. Lost our way from not having a calendar.
Huh?
Okay? For they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees. 38. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
See, right there, it's important to remember it's not us that made these mistakes, guys, or even our parents or our grandparents that, did this. So we can't take the blame for our current state to where we are as a people, and it was our forefathers long ago who turned their back on some of these principles. We're trying to relearn them now. So that's where we're at now, is trying to get back on track, if you will. Well, okay, now let's look in particular. So we have to build this calendar if we want to have success with the Lord. I mean, it's just simple as that. He says if we don't keep over these 364 days, we're going to lose track of not only his feast days, his new moons, his Sabbath days. We're going to lose track of his ordinances and his commands. And what do you know? Here we are today. Nobody knows any of the command. I mean, people can barely recite the 10 commandments, much less the other 603. So you have to appreciate the world for being so accurate and so truthful and letting us know that this is exactly what's going to happen, and at the same time letting us know what it is we have to do to correct it. And what it is we have to do to correct it, guys, who's paying attention?
We have to get this calendar right.
Right, you have to get a 364-day calendar. Let's look again at verse 34. Let's take it a little bit, 38, I'm sorry. Take it a little bit slower this time.
For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them.
Okay, talking about the generations and, our children and such. Go ahead.
For after thy death, thy children will disturb them.
Okay, meaning, and he's talking here to Noah, if I'm not mistaken. This is right after they've gotten off the boat. Noah has already, I guess, put his feet on land, and the Lord is telling him that his generations after your death, Noah, are going to forget these 364 days, and they're going to go off track. And yes, again, they did just that. The Japheth, Shem, and Ham forgot those days, and you can read on in the book of Jubilees how they did exactly what it says. What it said they're going to do if you don't do it. Go ahead.
So that they will not make the year 364 days only.
Yep. So they didn't make the year 364 days. Go ahead.
And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals.
Okay, but so if you don't get the 364 right, so now what we're doing is we're attempting to build a calendar that has just that, 364 days. But we'll come back to that. All right, let's go back. Let's go on to the next verse. Now, in the next verse, we've given a bit of help when it comes to building the Enoch calendar. Let me just take a moment to talk about the problems with the Enoch calendar that I've experienced, and that is because they don't match up with the Gregorian calendar, which is what we use every day. It presents an inherent problem of comparing a 364-day calendar with a 365 and a quarter-day calendar. But if you look here at verse 30, what is that, Stacy, you said? Verse 30 of Jubilees chapter 6. Go ahead and read verse 30.
And all the days of the commandment will be 2 and 50 weeks of the days.
Okay, 2 and 50 weeks of the days, 52 weeks, which means that when you think about the Gregorian calendar, it also has 52 weeks, right?
Right.
So that, I believe, is going to be a link between the two calendars, and we're going to see here as we construct this thing. Go ahead and finish out the verse.
And these will make the entire year complete. Okay.
Now, so the biggest jump, I believe, to making a perpetual calendar, a calendar that's going to last for a long time, is to use what we've given in the Word about the 52 weeks, and we'll see how this will look. All right, so this is our board, okay? Because there's 364 days on the board, we want to have a very big calendar. But let me not do all the talking. Let's let you talk to Gold, who actually created this thus far. Go ahead, Gold.
So this is the circular calendar, and you say, how do you get a decent circle? Well, you would use a string attached to a needle and put a pencil on the end so that then you have the same distance all the way around. And then you would make a shorter string for the inner circle. Then you would use a protractor to be able to make the marks, and you line the same string and pencil up with the string over top of the marks going in increments of 7. But what I have found to be a problem is that with a regular protractor, you have 360 degrees in a circle, but you're trying to put 364 in the calendar, so you end up with there being 1 day left off, 1 degree left off at each day, and then you have to mark those in by hand.
Well, son, that's an excellent point. And that's why a lot of people believe that the calendar is supposed to have 364 days. And you'll see some Enoch calendars that have 364 days. And it's because, well, it's just an error. You have to read the whole book. Enoch talks about a lot of stuff there. But now you talked about using your protractor and counting out 7. How do we understand that we're supposed to count out 7 marks or whatever you said?
Because you have 54 weeks in the year.
52.
52 weeks in the year, and you have 360 degrees. So you would do 360 divided by 52, which equals 6.92 rounded up to 7. And that 0.08 is the reason why there is a day missing at the end of the year, at the end of the seasons.
Okay. Alrighty. And any more on the tools that you had to use to do it? Anything else on the construction? Made out of plywood. You got a little bit of 1x to steady it up a little bit. All right.